There's a part of me that believes this case was designed by space aliens because I don't see how a human could actually design this. Hello everyone, I am Jmulls, and today I'll be reviewing the JSAUX Ergonomic Battle Armor Protective Case for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I got this piece of donkey cheeks because I wanted something to protect my Switch 2 in case I ever dropped the thing. What I then uncovered were a series of design quirks that made me scratch my head and wonder who actually okayed this. We have a lot to talk about, and let's get into it. And I got this piece of donkey cheeks because Now, it's not like there aren't any good things about the JSAUX case. I think the biggest pro, in my experience, is the price point. I got it for only $16.99 US off of Amazon, and when other cases in competition with this can go all the way up to like $60 or so, you can maybe chalk up the issues this thing has to you get what you pay for, but I don't think it's just a case of that, because they are just simple little things that go a long way here that just piss me off, and I don't understand who okayed this. In a lot of ways, this case feels like it was thrown together in an afternoon, just to get it out of the door in time for the Switch 2. I'm not saying that's what happened, I'm saying that's what it feels like. What do I mean by this? Okay, there are three elements to this case that I take issue with. One of which I can give a pass, we'll get to that one last. The biggest issue I have with the case comes down to the grips. Now, on first inspection, it's not that bad. There is some ergonomic build design here with the handle for each of the Joy-Cons. And when you're holding it like this, it can be actually kind of comfortable, at least for someone with like decently sized hands. Like, this is a Switch 2, and like this is my hand if you want a point of comparison here. But the biggest problem that I have with the grips isn't when it comes down to the texture or anything like that. It's one little element of it. You may be able to spot it immediately. It's this squared off design here right before we get into the shoulder buttons of each of the Joy-Cons. Now, if this was rounded out, it would be fine, right? But the problem is, it's such a steep cutoff right here that it creates this pointed part right here. And you may be going, isn't that where your hand's going to be? And kinda, yeah. If I illuminate that part, you can actually see just how pointed that one part is. And it's right next to the grip. And it's also right next to the shoulder buttons where your hand's going to be, because you're gonna want to press those buttons. Like so. So you just have this pointed part, and it's not like the material is necessarily all that soft. It is rather durable and firm, so it's just digging into your hand repeatedly, unless you want to have a lower grip here, which can make hitting the shoulder buttons rather awkward. Because otherwise, you just have your finger, or at least I have my finger, or like the inside of my palm right here, digging right into it, and it's not comfortable at all. And I find it extremely irritating, just trying to find a comfortable position to hold this thing, because of that one element. And like, I get it, the R and L buttons can really come down the side of the Joy-Con, but still, like, round this thing out, what are we doing? I don't even think it's a matter of having big hands or small hands, because it's right next to parts of the controller you're going to be utilizing a lot, depending on the game. So that your hand has to be up here in some capacity to hit these things. And unless you want to, like, deform your hand around that specifically, when it doesn't need to exist, it just makes the case weirdly uncomfortable for a reason that doesn't have to be there. Like, just round it out. The funny thing is, the mod case for the Steam Deck doesn't have this issue, like, at all. It's completely rounded out. It's not like I'm comparing apples to oranges either. Both of these things are from JSAUX. Both the Switch 2 protective case and the Steam Deck mod case. But one of these things just doesn't have those problems. And like, yeah, the mod case for the Steam Deck goes for a bit more. It goes for $29.99, at least on Amazon, for when I got it. But it's like, I refuse to believe the difference in the price point between this case for the Switch 2 and the mod case for the Steam Deck is simply this part right here. This comes off to me as just simply bad design that makes the case uncomfortable to hold, especially for extended periods of time, unless I want to, like, force myself to get used to holding it like this, when I really want to be holding it like this. But I can't be doing that because it digs right into my palm. I got this piece of donkey cheeks because Well, I hope you brought your mining hat, because it's time to go spelunking for the power button, which is located where it normally is in the Switch 2, right? But the power button is right up against the wall of the case here, and you have your volume buttons right over here. But the problem is, like, yeah, they're protected, but the problem is that it's so steep to get in here, and you put the power button right up against the side of it, that, like, if you want want to naturally hit the power button, you kind of can't, because this little lip here is preventing my finger from doing it. I have to move my hand all the way up and like angle it down at the exact right angle to hit the thing. And if you want an estimate for how like deep this thing is, like look how deep my finger goes in this. I'm fairly confident the hole that King Leonidas kicked that one dude into was shallower than this. Is it a deal breaker or anything? No, it's just another element that ticks me off when I'm using this case. It's not as bad as the pointy bit digging into my palm consistently, but it's just another element that makes me think they whipped this thing up in an afternoon. I don't know if they actually did that, but that's what it feels like. The other part of this case that's freaking stupid is the way you put your physical games in here. So if you ever wanted to put your game key card in here, because I know those are all the rage nowadays, and this next part of the design I kind of put on Nintendo, more so than JSAUX here, because I think the way the game card flap works in the Switch 2 is kind of stupid, but you can see here, they do give you a bit of room to operate here, at least on this side. Problem is, with the way that it works on the Switch 2, you have to, like, flip that open, pull it out, and then, like, bend it backwards while keeping it up, and then you can take your game out. But again, you can see the lip comes into the picture again, and it's like, for me as someone with like big fingers and big hands, it's kind of hard to get this thing out. I have to like finagle it and use like friction or something. I have to like dig a fingernail in between the lip and the game key card to be able to pull it out. And surprise, it's not a game key card, it's Octopath Traveler. But I can just imagine the cuss words are going to be flowing out of my mouth the moment I trim my fingernails and I have to like dig this thing out like a blown up submarine next to the Titanic. It's just bizarre to me how crowded some of the features of the console can be, when, considering all of that, the USB ports are fine. It's like, you have plenty of space here for the USB-C port at the top, especially the one at the bottom. It's like, I could run laps around this thing. It's like, that's plenty of space. It's good. And it's still well protected. I mean, the audio jack looks a little bit crowded. I have Bluetooth earbuds, so I haven't used it. But with how long audio jacks tend to be, I imagine it's pretty much fine, unless you have a weirdly shaped one, in which case that would probably piss you off. You can see it right there. Now, I did mention there were three main things that ticked me off about this. The first was the pointy bits jamming into my palms. The second was how crowded some of the buttons and ports on the Switch 2 are with this case. The third one, which I can kind of forgive, because it is rather a cheap case, at least from what I've seen. I'm not like an expert when it comes to Switch 2 cases or anything like that. This case is not compatible with the Switch 2 dock. If you try to put it in, it just doesn't fit. The Joy-Cons aren't detachable on this thing. This is all one connected piece of kit. And the way you take it off is you just like force the top part out and you slide the Switch 2 out. And putting the thing on and off is actually rather simple and straightforward. I like that element of it. It's easy just to slap this thing in, because all you pretty much do is you slide it down, make sure the Joy-Cons are in position, force it down, and then like snap the top part into position and you're good to go. It's like very quick. You see how quick it is to take the thing off, right? It's like that simple and quick. And this is the case without a Switch 2 in it. So you have this like transparent-esque back, which I think looks rather nice. I don't mind it. But you can see the Joy-Cons are not detachable. And for like some games, like I play Bravely Default Flying Fairy, right? And the mini games in that game require the Joy-Cons to be detached because you have to use them with the mouse functionality the Switch 2 has. So if I wanted to play this game undocked and I wanted to do those mini games, I would have to take the Switch 2 out, take the Joy-Cons off, and if I still wanted to use the case for whatever reason, put it in and then line it up correctly, snap it into position, and like, you can, I guess. Like, you would have to try to get this thing out of it. But, like, good luck putting the Joy-Cons back in while the case is still on. You would have to take it off again, put the Joy-Cons back on it when it's out of the case, then put it all back into the case itself. And, like, yeah, you can do it. Again, you kind of get what you pay for here. So, like, I can forgive that element, because, like I said, there are some pros to this thing. I got this piece of donkey cheeks because the biggest pro being the price point. Like, if you don't want to drop a bunch of money on a case and you just want something to protect your Switch 2 on the go, this will do the job, at least from the feel. I haven't done extensive durability testing or anything because it's my case. I don't want to break the thing or break my Switch 2. It's not like I'm growing these things on trees, but it feels rather durable. I took a nail clipper to this edge a little bit, and I only managed to get a little bit off, though I could absolutely force it if I really wanted to. But it does feel like it's somewhat protected, so long as I don't drop it on the corner of the shoulder buttons, because as you can see, there is no protection here, which you can possibly chalk up to the shoulder buttons being oddly shaped on the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, but that doesn't change the fact that I feel hesitant to even allow this thing to drop, because if it falls in like a corner on this pot, maybe it takes some damage. That would be my only real concern. I haven't had that happen to me yet. But like most of the cons for this case, I can kind of forgive because the price point is rather low, like I said, and it does do the job. If you just want this thing to protect your Switch 2 and to have some level of protection for this, and you don't want to pay out of your balls in order to accomplish that, it will do it. It's like if I drop this thing face down onto my desk from a height of, I want to say, 3 inches, yeah, you can see it's fine. I also have a JSAUX screen protector on this thing as well, by the way. But like, as you can see, from the insane height of 3 inches, it managed to protect it from a little fall. But it's just weird how almost minimalistic the case is when in comparison to the mod case for the Steam Deck. Which, again, the Steam Deck case, the mod case specifically, from JSAUX is a little bit pricier at like $29.99. But it feels much better in the hands. You can see the grips are like nice and rounded. There's nothing poking into me. And even for the buttons up here, they have covers for the buttons, so it doesn't feel extremely awkward to get to any of these buttons because the case covers that. And like, maybe the difference in the price covers that. I would have thought the price difference would be more associated with the Steam Deck one having a front case as well for travel protection, as well as it being a mod case so that I can attach stuff to it. But I don't know, maybe that's like taken into the math. It's like, yeah, part of that price difference is button covers. Doesn't particularly make all that much sense to me, but like, maybe that's how it is. But like I said, if you want a case just to protect your Switch 2 and you don't want to pay that much, this can maybe meet that need. But there's a lot of just little things about it that add up. The biggest, bar none, are the square edges on the grips, just digging into my palms. I don't like that I feel forced to change my hand placement simply because the case itself is uncomfortable. So here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with what is your favorite case for the Switch 2. Have you tried this one? How do you feel about it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and your perspectives. Do you feel the Switch 2 even needs a case to begin with? And if you like this video and want to see more content like this, leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, Jmulls G. I have a Discord in the description down below. And if you're looking for something fun to play on your Switch 2, might I suggest The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. It's an upcoming game from Square Enix and has a demo right now on the Switch 2. I think the game is incredible. If you want to find out more, check out this video right here. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!